Всем доброго времени суток, с вами Эш, и сегодня мы с вами продолжаем прохождение Call of Juarez. Прежде чем приступить, предлагаю вам сходить налить чай, кофе, взять чего-нибудь вкусного, устроиться поудобнее. Ну а если у вас все готово, как у меня, то давайте продолжать. Так, чуть подвину микрофон, чтобы лучше было меня слышно. Так. Давным-давно в далеких горах. Как скажешь, босс.
Grey Wolf was a Chiricahua Apache medicine man who had led a war party in revenge for a massacre against his people. The U.S. Army had attacked his tribe during his daughter's sacred sunrise ceremony, and the slaughter was unspeakable. I understood his anger, as there's nothing more traumatic than seeing those you love die in a cruel and painful death.
Странно, вот просто странно. Давайте среднюю листву поставим. FPS выше 30 не поднимается. Ну так, 36.
Right from the beginning, I couldn't shake the feeling that Grey Wolf was watching my every move. He led a band of young Apache warriors who wanted retribution and were more than willing to die for him.
Шестизарядник. А где мой особый револьвер? Можно пройти по мосту? А можно тут? Я пройду тут. Секрет, винтовка.
They saw me before I saw them. And it crossed my mind that maybe this wasn't such a good idea. But now that the shooting had started, there was no backing down.
А вот и неправда, я увидел их раньше. Так, там еще один индеец, по-моему, остался. Уже нет. Ах, хренеть. Не один таки. Как скажешь.
It was rugged country, the winter home of the Chiricahuas, and that's why they had retreated there.
Да откуда стреляют?
I admit to having some regrets about going after them the way I did. But then again, I got a lot of those.
Так, мне надо прокачать уровень. Подсказки о самородках, глубокие карманы. Быстрая перезарядка. Ага. Давайте вот это. Ай-яй-яй-яй-яй.
Did you find Grey Wolf? Not at that moment, but I did find the entrance to their hideout.
Как вас много-то, а? Нормально.
A deep crevice that led to a deeper cave.
Don't tell me you went in there.
Yeah, but it's not out of bravery so much as pure angry cussedness.
Ну ладно. Лезть так лезть. В логово индейцев. Хотя, мне кажется, это рискованная идея. Но разве есть у меня выбор? История уже написана, как говорится. Так.
See, back then, I had a stubborn streak a mile wide, and I wasn't about to back down.
So it was like pitch black in there?
Actually, it was pretty well lit, as they had torches on the walls.
Небо револьвер мой проапгрейженный. Секрет, револьвер. Так. Какая-то музыка напряженная.
How big was his cave? Big as hell, Ben. Chiricahua had hid out there during the Indian Wars.
Че, много вас еще? Я гляжу до хрена. Прямо до хрена.
They thought it was haunted with the ghosts of those murdered by the horse soldiers.
The cave was haunted with dead Indian ghosts?
Да не.
To be honest, I was more concerned with the live ones than the dead ones.
Не будет тут призраков. Ой-я. Я знаю, что есть достижение. Набрать комбо до 20. Я не знаю, как это делать. Потому что максимум до скольки я набирал? До 8, наверное. Да?
A few years back, I was married to 2 Mescalero women.
At the same time?
Yeah, they were sisters. Polygyny is traditional among the Mescalero.
So what happened?
Oh, I had to get out of there. Those girls never shut up. Both of them nagging at me all the time. Drove me half crazy. Haven't seen them since.
No, I mean, what happened with Grey Wolf?
Oh, well, I pursued him into the Cave of Death.
Так, нет. Шестизарядник. Да вы издеваетесь. Где тот с костяной рукоятью револьвера?
And that's when I saw him. He came to me unarmed and unafraid. His voice echoed in the shadows. And I sensed he meant me no harm.
You carry great darkness in your heart, and if you do not release it, it will claim your soul.
The sound of his voice put some kind of ancient Indian spell on me. As his story unfolded in my mind.
You will come to this place again and kill many more men, and the darkness will grow until it consumes everything that you are. The soul would have no rainbow if the eye had no tears.
He said I was a great warrior, a coyote man, unequaled by any other pale-faced warrior, or something like that.
The snakes will bite shadows of your past until a venom poisons your heart, and an echo of the song of the dead summons the spirits deep from within the mountains.
I didn't quite get what he was saying, but there was definitely snakes.
Теперь я понял, как набрать 20. Так, твердый прицел, да.
They couldn't stop me though, and Grey Wolf wasn't in the mood for idle talk.
Как тебе такое? И еще один уровень сразу же. Что за быстрые пальцы? Перезарядки быстрым нажатием кнопки. Что, все? Закончились. Кто? Подъем? Серьезно? Ну, блин, я что ожидал? Ну, где же ты?
To get where I was going required several leaps of faith, but no way in hell I was turning back. I chased after him, determined to make him explain the meaning of all that mumbo-jumbo.
Mumbo-jumbo is right. Are you making this all up as you go?
A few details may be fuzzy, brother, but I am relating exactly what happened to me. There was dozens of Apache warriors aiming at me from on high.
Dozens?
Well, maybe not dozens, but there was a lot of them.
At least 3 or 4.
Well, more than that, little lady.
Так, давай. Опа-на, не повезло вам. Друзья.
I had a steep climb up creek ahead of me and scrambled up those rocks like a mountain goat. I was determined to locate Grey Wolf and find out exactly what the hell he was trying to tell me. And wouldn't you know it, that crafty son of a bitch led me right into a trap.
What kind of trap?
Well, son, there had to be at least 100 Apaches around me.
100?
God be my witness.
Oh, come on. Who are you kidding?
Конечно.
Hey, I believe you. Come on, tell us how it ended.
All right, but I'm not gonna drag this out. Where were we?
You were surrounded by 100 Apache warriors.
Well, I didn't take the time to count them exactly, but there were a lot of them.
Где остальные? Замедление во время прицеливания меня прямо-таки спасает.
And in the end, a path appeared before me that I had not seen before. I followed it as I desperately needed to find out what Grey Wolf was trying to tell me. But it was like that son of a bitch disappeared into thin air. Never did find
На этом и
it,
заканчивается история.
and never did collect my goddamn bounty. Thank you, darling. It's interesting how the truth can sometimes seem might malleable, depending upon your point of view.
Like how those dime novels make you out to be something you're not?
Jack, don't be starting trouble.
No, he's right. They do tend to exaggerate.
Did they exaggerate your part in taking down the Daltons?
Well, I was there in the flesh, boy, so I saw what happened firsthand. Those Daltons were lawmen once, before they all went bad, robbing banks and trains clear across the territory. Until Coffeeville, of course. I was one of the citizens who took up arms that day.
Fighting on the side of right?
I did my best, sir. We all did.
И за кого сейчас будем? За Бена?
It was early morning. One of my friends was a local gunsmith, and he handed out firearms to anybody who'd take one. You see, the Daltons got it in their heads to rob 2 banks at the same time. 2 banks on the same damn street. The story was Bob Dalton's girl was always writing him about how he had no ambition. Oh, you're nobody next to Jesse James, she'd say. Finally, the bastard took his brothers to Coffeeville just to shut her up. Well, the locals recognized the Daltons right off. Before they could get away, half the town took up arms to defend their property. Their first mistake was pulling a job in their own damn hometown. The boys grew up in Coffeeville, so everybody knew them.
Все. Быстро же Далтоны кончились.
The brothers paid dearly for their stupidity, but everybody knows they had it coming.
There's more to it than that. I read all about that day, so I know for a fact that it went down very differently. First of all, it was high noon. A posse of U.S. deputy marshals were on the rooftop across the street.
У каждого своя
Lawmen
история.
had been tracking the Daltons for months. Now they finally had them dead to rights. Among them was a bounty hunter feared by many a lawbreaker. This man had no intention of letting the Daltons slip away. They met an adversary that day who had no fear and offered them no quarter. The marshals tried to get the Daltons to surrender.
They'll give up eventually. You just gotta wait for some bitches out.
This bounty hunter knew that the brothers were far too proud to ever lay down their guns. He went in there alone to confront those criminals.
Как скажешь. Так. Угу. Так.
One of the marshals shouted, "Where are you going? Are you crazy?"
Hey, where do you think you're going, dumbass? That rifle's mine.
He saw a way to get around to the back of the bank. Then he figured out how to hit the Daltons from a direction they weren't expecting.
Где-то тут есть секрет, наверное.
Fortunately, a water tower was right there.
Да-да, главное сказать мне, куда идти именно.
A moment later, he was climbing up a steep ladder, laughing at danger as he did. It was brave men like him who risked their lives to tame this wild hunter.
We've got company.
Heroic men like him, who did what other men couldn't or wouldn't to make this country free. Like Jim Boone,
That side of
David
green.
Так.
Son of a
and
bitch.
powerful.
I'm sorry, son.
Ты уж прости. Самородок где-то рядом. Вот он. Отлично.
What the hell? Blam! He came away victorious, taking down those thieving Daltons. His name? Silas Greaves. And when the dust finally settled, he was the last man standing.
Sorry, kid, but that
Сейчас
just
это не
wasn't the
так.
way it happened.
Теперь узнаем, как все было на самом деле.
It was early evening, not high noon. The Daltons blew up a safe, and were all set to hightail it out of there. Those pathetic deputies surrounding the bank were dropping like flies.
Лидер, любовник и лох. Боб Эммет
I'd been
играет.
tracking those jokers for months, waiting for them to do something reckless. And finally, they did. Those stupid bastards decided to rob 2 banks at the same time in the same town where everybody knew them. But they still had friends in Coffeeville.
Ты уж прости. Ну пора. Блин, нельзя их убить.
Those friends came after me like a pack of wild dogs, tooth and nail. They were coming at me from all directions. I caught sight of the Daltons running with the money and didn't want to lose it. Problem was, they knew the town better than I did. To top it off, I found myself in the middle of another shootout entirely.
Did the Daltons pull up in somebody's house?
No, it was the Smiths, I believe. They were cousins of the Daltons, and they were shooting at the Browns, who were shooting at the Daltons, which wasn't any surprise, because those 2 families have been feuding forever. And since the Joneses are related to the Browns, they shot at the Smiths, pissing off the Heimhoffers, whose daughter recently married a Smith. Well, bullets were flying every which way as all the old feuds in Kansas caught fire all at once. There was a hell of a lot of pissed off people in Coffee.
Все стреляли во всех.
That's just the way life is sometimes. Shit happens.
Все стреляли во всех просто. Окей.
The Dalton boys knew I would never give up. Those Daltons weren't the sharpest knives in the drawer, but they always stood together. They set a trap to slow me down and allow at least 2 of them to escape. The 3rd brother stayed behind to plant me, just in case that trap of theirs didn't work.
Ну и где ты, брат? Здесь будет пойти дуэль.
It was Emmett, the youngest, and he decided to stand his ground and face me down.
I ain't afraid of you, Silas Greaves. This is where it ends for you.
He was determined to protect his brothers. And I understood how he felt. Taking me on all by his lonesome wasn't exactly a recipe for a long life.
Офигеть. И как мне его убивать? Какая клевая перестрелка. Ну, друг, уж не обессудь.
But Emmett Dalton survived the robbery in Coffeeville. He's the only Dalton who did.
They say he was shot 23 times.
Well, Dwight, who do you think put all those damn holes in?
Как он выжил?
have to admit, that boy had grit.
23 раза. Офигеть.
It took me a couple of days to track the Daltons down.
They can't get away with this!
And in that time, a whole posse of local vigilantes offered to lend a hand.
We'll track them to the ends of the earth.
They seemed as determined as me to find those outlaws. But as we headed into those swamps, it was like I had my own private army. There was no way those boys were getting away this time.
It was early fall, right? Beautiful time of year. At least you had the weather on your side.
Not by my recollection. It was damp and foggy as hell. It was tough to stay on a true course. So we kept an eye out for landmarks. It was autumn. The maple trees were in full color. Red as blood.
Все меняется на наших.
The rains that year were torrential, so the whole area was flooded.
На наших глазах.
The vigilantes had spread out wide, and pretty soon I couldn't see anybody.
Куда-то туда двигаться нам.
Bury them in the swamp. Plant them where they stand.
Except for some bitches ahead of me wanted to do me harm, so I had to face them alone. I wondered why my compatriots didn't come running when they heard the shots.
Есть сюда проход.
So did you find the Daltons?
Not yet, but I did have the questionable pleasure of meeting a few of their friends.
Конечно, как иначе-то. Давай. Где еще ваши шестерки?
The boys had established quite a reputation by that time, so they attracted all manner of riffraff to their cause.
Уровень. Отлично. Охотник за головами, да. Вот так вот. Ау! Динамит случайно взорвал, когда он подлетал ко мне. У меня мало жизни осталось. Да что же я не попадаю-то, а? Вот и все. Так, опять сюда. Все. Нет, не все. Стрелок с дробовиком.
My reinforcements was nowhere to be seen.
Ну и где? Оставшиеся.
Well, luckily, a barn materialized as if right before my eyes. I scrambled up top to get a better view.
Ну да, конечно. Появился.
But just ended up falling inside.
So, how did you get out?
The barn doors was open. About right then, I saw some suspicious characters running through the bushes. Of course, I followed them.
Ну,
But that goddamn swamp was like a goddamn maze, and pretty soon I had no goddamn idea where I was. Steve?
Понял.
So I just started walking, and pretty soon...
Стив.
Steve? Steve?
Huh? Oh, no, I'm listening.
Indians surrounded me from all sides.
Индейцы? Индейцы тут откуда?
Indians? They were Indians.
No. I just wanted to make sure Steve was paying attention. Now, where was I?
You were following the Daltons through a swamp?
That's right. See, Steve? Dwight's paying attention.
No, I'm listening. I was just resting my eyes.
So, where was I?
The Daltons.
Right. See, there's a reason so many outlaw gangs are made up of brothers. Being a brother is a very sacred thing. It's a bond like no other.
Ну да, то, что брат брата не предаст.
Bounty hunter! Stop that, son of a bitch!
So did you ever find the damn Daltons?
Not yet. But I did find a few of their cousins. You Kansans breed like rabbits. Or Heimhoffers or who knows what.
Bounty hunters! Stop that, son of a bitch! Take that, asshole! Die, you damn bounty hunter!
But hell, what's more important than family? I bet Ben knows what I'm talking about.
Kill that
Где? Я видел тебя. Давай. Как скажешь. Теперь у них закрыто и это. Успехов. Вот и все. Так, патроны. Выстрел в голову. Много вас еще тут. Что-то как-то их прям дофига. Длинная локация, знаете.
Standing together against anyone who would threaten them.
А вот это уже похоже на...
That's when I saw it. A goddamn steamboat.
A steamboat in a swamp?
Yeah, Steve, but this wasn't much more than a wreck, really.
But how'd a damn steamboat end up in the swamps? Guess it floated off during the flood of '89.
Now, was it a stern wheeler or a side wheeler?
What? Does that really make a difference, Steve? It was a steamboat with a goddamn army on board. It was in that a fusillade of bullets come raining down from on high. And those vigilantes who accompanied me weren't anywhere to be found. But among those men that were shooting at me, I thought I saw some familiar faces.
Далтоны? Или что? Кого ты там увидел? Давай. Живи. Самородок где-то рядом. Где? Где? А, понял. Вот он. Давайте возьмем револьвер. С ним, по-моему, быстрее стреляет наш персонаж.
Sounds like you don't give up too easy.
That's the kind of man I am, Ben. I set out to do something. I do it. Surrender just ain't in my nature. Plus, I'm stubborn as hell.
Так, еще один секрет. Офигеть. Ой, зря я нажал. Зря я нажал слезть. А где Далтон это?
Right about then, much to my relief, the vigilantes finally arrived.
Откуда?
Their leader motioned at a cabin in the middle of the top deck, pointing me directly at the Daltons. I finally had them, after months of dogged pursuit.
Серьезно?
But it turned out that they had me.
Take him out!
О,
I'm
как.
sending you to hell!
О, как.
The Daltons had played me like a fiddle.
After all this,
Apparently, the vigilantes were on their damn payroll. They didn't just want to shoot me. They wanted to burn me alive. But finding my way out of a burning labyrinth proved to be quite a challenge.
It was a riverboat, right? I mean, it's not like it was a goddamn ocean liner.
Well, yeah, but I was in a
Did you
fight.
hear about that ship that's gonna launch next year? Largest one in the world.
You're talking about the Titanic. If you ask me, it's too blessed to.
Блин.
I don't think it'll even float.
So anyway,
Don't be stupid, Steve. They know what they're doing. They say that the Titanic is unsinkable.
oh God,
But getting back to that steamboat, how did you get off it, Mr. Greaves?
I took in a lot of smoke that day, so I admit my recollection might be a bit hazy. But somehow I managed to finally disembark. It was time to settle this once and for all.
Давай. Чё, много вас тут? Как же вас до хрена?
Bob and Grant weren't about to come at me one at a time. They were in this together.
Так, сейчас, погоди, дайте я прокачаю.
Two brothers side by side, determined to take me down. Confident that this time the odds were on their side.
Офигеть. Он выстрелил раньше. Понятно.
They got it wrong. A sad end for those two. If they'd only known that Emmett was still alive despite his wounds.
Они сами виноваты.
14 years later, he moved to California and sold real estate and lived off the legend of that fateful day. And the tragic death of his two brothers.
Не стоило связываться с Сайлосом Грейвзом.
My own brothers died tragically as well, truth be told. It was 1868, and me and my older brothers were pulling a tidy profit running cattle into Juarez, Mexico. One night after my brothers retired for the evening, I found a little poker game in a cantina with a couple of cowboys. And I just couldn't lose. I even won an old Spanish coin that had to be 100 years old. Well, I was mighty pleased with myself the next morning as my brothers and I rode for Texas. But before we crossed the border, those cowboys caught up with us. It was Johnny Ringo, Roscoe Bob Bryant, and another asshole named Jim. They wanted their money back and everything else we had, including our lives, as those boys didn't want us coming for them later. Bob put that old Spanish coin in my mouth and said, "I won't have it said that I left you with nothing, boy." Well, those horses bolted, and there we hung as those bastards rode away. The branch finally snapped under the weight of the three of us, but being my older brothers were bigger and heavier, they were already dead. And right then I swore to myself that I would avenge them. Ringo you know about. But Bob eluded me, until I heard he was riding with the Wild Bunch.
Да.
I'd been on their trail for months, ever since they left their hideout in the Bighorn Mountains. Led by Butch Cassidy. They were a loose association of outlaws who robbed banks and trains from Colorado to Montana.
Давайте на этом закончим. Надеюсь, вам понравилось. Что будет дальше, узнаем в следующей серии. Мне нравится такой чисто спагетти-вестерн. Надеюсь, нравится и вам. Если нравится, подписывайтесь на канал, вступайте в группу, ставьте лайки, оставляйте комментарии и обязательно рассказывайте друзьям. Если вам что-то не нравится, пишите в комментариях, что именно, и я постараюсь исправить. Ну и да, спасибо всем, что были с нами. Всем пока.